This is part three of chapter six. In this lecture, we're going to discuss Rene Descartes. So please read pages 284 to 292 in the textbook. Rene Descartes was a philosopher, mathematician, was a Christian, he was a soldier as well. One day he was stationed in Germany. He had a dream. A spirit appeared to him, and the spirit asked him what is it he wanted to do with the rest of his life. The spirit showed him a book. All the pages of the book was blank. So he understood what he had to do. And when he woke up, he started doing mostly philosophy. When he was alive, um metaphysics was dominating all philosophy. But when Descartes came along, we moved from metaphysics to epistemology. Descartes asked himself one question: what is it I know with absolute certainty? Is there something that I know that is beyond all doubt? Something that is indubitable? He thought knowledge was like building. If you're building in your house, you need a strong foundation. If not, the house will collapse. So, likewise, he thought we had to know to discover something absolutely certain, something that is true, self evident. And this principle, then we could use it to be the foundation of knowledge. So, once we know something with absolute certainty, we could use it to discover other um, ideas. So he said, well, I'm going to doubt everything possible. I'm going to doubt every proposition, every sentence, every statement, everything, unless I found something that is beyond doubt. He said, well, let's start with our five senses, because we receive the world through the five senses. I know you exist because I can see you, I can hear you, I can touch you. I know the blue sky exists because I can see the blue sky. So we're going to analyze the beliefs we have based on the five senses. Can the five senses give us certainty? Can the five senses be the foundation of knowledge? Descartes thought, no, the five senses can't do that, because the senses sometimes they misrepresent reality. For example, um, something that looks small, as you're getting closer and closer, the thing looks big. I can buy you a drink, you taste it, the drink tastes sweet to you. Somebody else tastes it, the drink doesn't taste sweet. The drink could be salty, bitter, something else. So which one of you is right? What is the real taste of the drink? See? So if I want to know what is the real taste of the drink, there's no answer to this because it all depends on your taste buds. See? So he thought again the senses can't give us certainty because we can't agree on colors and tastes and smells and flavors. Therefore, the senses can't give us certainty, therefore, they can't be the foundation of knowledge. Number two, the senses can't be the foundation of knowledge because the senses can't distinguish dream from reality. The senses can't separate dream from reality. How do you know you're not dreaming right now? Of course, you think, well, I'm awake. But notice you could go to bed tonight, you fall asleep and you dream. You could dream exactly the same thing, the same scenario. And dreams look real. Most of us had a dream in the past. Let's say you saw a dog was chasing you and you're running for your life, you're scared, and you woke up like, oh, this was just a dream. Notice your senses can't tell the difference between dream and reality. This is why, if I ask you to name one thing, you can't dream about it. See if you can name one thing. It is impossible to have a dream about it. I could give you a few minutes. You'll quickly see anything that happens during the day, anything you hear, you smell, you taste, you touch. When you go to bed, the same thing can happen. Of course, you could use the mind to say, oh, this was a dream. This is why Descartes is a rationalist. He doesn't trust the senses, he trusts reason, the mind, intellect to understand the world. So any experience you have during the day, you could dream the same thing. Of course, vice versa is not true. We dream of things that never happen in the world. Let's say you dream that you are flying. In reality, you can fly. You can't fly. But anything that happens in reality, when you go to bed, you can dream exactly of the same thing. Again, your senses can't tell the difference between dream and reality. So to summarize, the senses misrepresent the world. We see things that are not really there. We hear things that are not really there. A glass of water, again, if you put a straw in it, the straw looks bent. The mind knows the straw is not bent, but your eyes don't know that. And the senses, again, can't be the foundation of knowledge because the senses can't distinguish dreams from reality. Everything you're seeing right now, everything you're experiencing, could be a dream. Again, the intellect, the mind can tell you, can explain why this is not a dream, but your five senses, hearing, tasting, smelling, they can't distinguish reality from dreams. So because of that, they said, well, I'm not going to trust the five senses. They can't be the foundation of knowledge. They can't give us absolute certainty. And said, well, if I can't trust the senses to give us certainty, how about mathematics? 2 plus 3 is 5. Whether I'm dreaming, whether or not I'm awake. It doesn't matter where I am, sleeping, dreaming, not sleeping, not dreaming. 2 plus 2 is 5. A square has 4 sides. Could you doubt 2 plus 3 is 5? What could the answer be? Could math be the answer? Could math be the foundation of knowledge? Could mathematics give us absolute certainty? He thought about it, he concluded no. You could doubt 2 plus 3 is 5. It's possible it could be something else. Why? He said, well, when I was a child, they told me God exists. God is all powerful. God can do all things. How do I know 2 plus 3 is really 5? What if God simply made me to believe 2 plus 3 is 5, but it's not really 5? God could make other beings somewhere else in the universe where 2 plus 3 is something else for them. So how can I be certain 2 plus 3 is 5? He said, well, they also told me God is good, so God wouldn't make me to believe false things. What if then there's an evil genius, an evil demon? Imagine something that has the power of God, but not the goodness of God. What if the world was made by something evil? It's got all the power of God, but not the wisdom, not the goodness of God. And this evil genius or evil demon programs us to believe 2 plus 3 is 5. But in reality, it's not really 5, it is something else. Let me say, he's not really doubting this. He's sitting in a room asking himself, what is it I can know beyond doubt? He's not saying if you see a train coming toward you, for you to start doubting, is it really a train or is it a big bird? No, would die quickly. He's simply sitting in a room asking himself, what is it I know beyond doubt? So it could be, it is logically possible, it's not a contradiction. There could be an anti-God, something with the power of God, but not the goodness, the wisdom, the love of God. That thing made the world. He made us to just believe things like 2 plus 2 is 5. In reality, 2 plus 3 is not 5. Again, this sounds strange, but again, it is logically possible. It is not a contradiction. So since it's possible, there could be an evil demon, an evil genius that programs us to believe the truths of mathematics. I'm going to doubt mathematical propositions. Therefore, 2 plus 3 may not be really 5. Maybe I'm just programmed to believe that. As a result, he thought, well, mathematics can't be the foundation of knowledge. Strange. Then he said, well, notice, if you can't trust your 5 senses, if you doubt your 5 senses, you doubt the entire world. Again, how do I know the blue sky exists? Because I can see the blue sky. How do I know you exist? Because I can hear you, I can see you, I can taste you, I can smell you, I can kiss you, I can touch you. So if I can't trust my 5 senses, then maybe you don't exist. Maybe there's no blue sky. Maybe there are no trees, no rivers, no butterflies. Maybe there's nothing. Nothing, 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 nothing. He concluded, well, even if I can't trust my 5 senses to provide certainty, even if I can't trust mathematics to provide certainty, there's one thing I know for certain. The only thing we can know with absolute certainty is that we exist. I exist. I think, therefore I am. Je pense, donc je suis. If there's thinking, there's a thinker. If there's questioning, there's somebody asking the question. If there's doubting, there's a doubter. So even if I can't trust mathematics, even if I can't trust the 5 senses, I know that I exist. Even all of it could be a dream, even if I'm in the matrix, even if I'm being deceived by God, by an evil demon, I must exist for God, for an evil demon to deceive me. I must exist for me to doubt, for me to think, for me to dream. So the only thing I can know with absolute certainty is I exist. So he concluded, your own existence is the foundation of knowledge. Everything else should be built upon that. Now, for us, this is not controversial. But if you're living during this time, this was controversial. If you believe, for example, the Bible is absolute truth, we have to start with the Bible. No, he said, no, everything starts with me. I exist. I cannot doubt that. So this is the only thing we know for certain, and we should use this to discover new ideas, new principles. So for Descartes, this table, this computer, I can doubt, but my existence, I cannot doubt it. After he did that, he tried to show God exists. If God exists, then if I see a table in front of me, if I see a tree, a bird, a river, and if God is also good, I can trust my senses that I'm not dreaming, I'm not being deceived, because a good, loving God wouldn't make me to be deceived by the simplest things. In the 17th century, this was a big deal because many philosophers thought if you could show human beings are deceived by the way they experience the world, you could conclude God doesn't exist. Because if God did exist, God wouldn't make us that we would be deceived by the simplest things. So for Descartes, strangely, the only way you could know you're not being deceived. If you see a tree, a person, a river, a bird in front of you, is to show God exists first. It's been for Descartes. It's easier to show God exists than this textbook, than this table. Because you could be dreaming, you could be hallucinating, your senses could be lying to you. So he gave a long argument that tried to show God exists, and in this lecture we can't really go over it. Now at this time, since he said, well, I know I exist, Descartes is talking what's called solipsism. Solipsism says, well, I know that I exist, but you, I'm not quite sure. You could be a dream. The whole world could be a dream. I could be hallucinating. Maybe I'm high. I see. So I can be certain about my existence, but I can't be certain about your existence. Why? If I say you don't exist, that's not a contradiction. If I say the blue sky doesn't exist, that's not a contradiction. If I say the entire world doesn't exist, that's not a contradiction. But if I say I don't exist, see, that's a contradiction. Because if I say I don't exist, it can't be true. Because for me to say I don't exist, I must exist in the first place. If I didn't exist, I couldn't say I don't exist. So I could doubt everything else, the entire world, everything else. I can say they don't exist. I can deny their existence. It's not a contradiction. But if I say I don't exist, see, that's a contradiction. Hence, again, I can know I exist, but no one else. So solipsism, again, I know that I exist, but you, anything else, I'm not quite sure. So the only way for him to get out of solipsism is for him again to try to show God exists. And if God exists, if I see a person, a flower, then those things are real. He also left us with a different problem, the problem of other minds. How do I know people have other minds? I know my beliefs. I experience my beliefs, my memories, my feelings, my knowledge. But I don't experience your beliefs, your knowledge, your memories. How do I know you have a mind just like me? You could be a cleverly designed machine. You could be a machine, a zombie, programmed to behave like me. But you see, I can't know for certain you have a mind because I cannot get into your mind. I experience my memories, beliefs, knowledge, ideas, but yours, I don't. So how do I know that you have a mind? You see. So there are also problems with this. I think, therefore, I am. This is true. Most people agree with that. You can't doubt your existence. But except if you ask him, okay, I think. What is thinking? What is I? Is there a difference between thinking and I? Could I exist without thinking? Descartes seems to have confused consciousness with thinking. Consciousness is prior to thinking. If you're thinking, you're conscious, but you can't be conscious, you're not thinking, you see? You're not always thinking. Sometimes there's a gap in your thoughts, but you're always conscious. You can remember a time in which you were not thinking. You can. But notice you can't remember a time in which you were not conscious. You're always conscious. Even when you fall asleep, you're dreaming, you're always conscious. You're conscious of your dream. So thinking is not continuous. There's a gap, there's a pause in thinking. But consciousness is. Again, I know what you're thinking. There's something called maybe, what's it, deep sleep or REM sleep, and you're not conscious of it. Sometimes you go to bed, you don't dream. But see, how do you know deep sleep exists, REM sleep exists? Something in you must know you didn't dream last night. So, instead of saying, I think, therefore I am, it makes better sense to say, I'm conscious. I'm conscious. Therefore, I am. Because again, there's a gap in thinking. You're not always thinking. Sometimes you see something so beautiful, you stop thinking. But consciousness always flows. You're always conscious. So again, you should have made this distinction between consciousness and thinking. He did not. Again, I'm not sure if he confused him. So I think therefore I am sounds okay, but if you kind of break it down, you see there's a bit of problem because Descartes even said, if I stop thinking, maybe I could die. That's not true. You could be in a coma, you're not thinking, but you're not dead. Sometimes you fall in love, you see the person you fall in love for a moment, you stop thinking. You could see a landscape that is so beautiful, something so amazing, and then all your thoughts just stop. You say, the thing takes my breath away. See? So if you stop thinking, you'll be fine. Again, from time to time we stop thinking, but say consciousness is not the same again, because there can't be thinking without consciousness. There can be consciousness without thinking. So they're not the same. So to summarize, what is it I know beyond doubt with absolute certainty? He said I can't go with the senses. They misrepresent the world sometime. Also, I could be dreaming. The senses don't know the difference between dreams and reality. Could mathematics be the foundation of knowledge? He said no, because there could be an evil genius, an evil demon, something with the power of God, but not the goodness, the wisdom of God. He simply made us to believe 3 plus 3 is 5, but that's not true. But even if I can't trust my senses, even if I'm dreaming, hallucinating, I know for certain that I exist. My existence is the only thing that is beyond doubt, and this should be the foundation of our knowledge. Okay. Thank you for watching.